Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm making sure my recording is done. All right, perfect. That's there. That's there. Let me minimize that. Bring it over here. All right, need the audio. All right. So let's go ahead and get to it. Thank you very much for y'all for coming in. It is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, and especially with the way the market tends to move, this is where we get back to zero. If you had a very good week, by all means, congratulations so far. Let's go ahead and get you back to zero. That way you can finish strong. If you are having a very rough week and it feels like you're a little behind the eight ball a bit, all right, listen, the week's not over. You probably could knock out your goal by Friday. Okay. So let's just go ahead and get ourselves back to zero. So midweek mindset reset. Wednesday's wisdom for weekend wins to refuel your fire and reignite your passion. All right. Trading can beat you up a little bit. So it's very important that we get back to our point. All right. Boom, boom, boom. So I'm gonna start this one a little different than I normally do most of my mindsets. Normally I do like quotes from like Eric Thomas and Myron Golden and everything else. This one's gonna be a little bit different. I just want to make sure y'all get it, y'all understand it, so that way you can be able to key off on it as well. So let's start here. The way to start this, I want y'all to kind of look at this. We're gonna go with like more of a hip hop type of setup in itself, because I think when it's all said and done and dealing with the market, you got to have a little fun with it. Okay. So I want you to write this down if you're next to it. All right. Welcome to the market. Welcome to the New York Stock Exchange. Welcome to your brokerage. Welcome to however you trade, Webull, whatever. This is a place that is very important. So I want you to write down where if you treat the market like your hobby, your portfolio gets bodied. All right. So you need to protect your portfolio. We are hedge fund managers. We're just our own personal hedge fund managers. So it's very important that we treat this right. And as day traders, that's probably one of the most difficult parts of our whole entire career, is knowing that we have to mitigate a lot of flaws in ourselves. Now, I'm going to give y'all a nice little hit list of a lot of bad people in the market. All right. And listen, I'm not pointing any names. I'm not pointing any elbows. This might be you, but we're going to go ahead and list out a whole bunch of culprits that's out in the market that's always causing problems. Let's go with culprit number one. Culprit number one, over trading. For those that day trade, especially on my futures floor, you know, we can fall into that very quickly, because a lot of us are scalpers, right? But there's a balance between over trading and knowing where your capacity of trading is, right? So a quick quote from Jay-Z is, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Okay. And the reason why it's like that is because at the end of the day, the numbers there's no way of remaking 1 + 1 = 2. There's just no other way. Yeah, you could kind of split it up. Maybe you put it like, all right, 2 minus 1 = 1. You could play around with it, but either way, it always comes back to 1 and sorry, back to 2, because at the end of the day, the market is a zero-sum game. You are not playing. Yeah, your broker makes some money, right? They're just responsible for facilitating. They're just a whole bunch of middlemen. But to be honest, when you buy a call or you take a long position, there's somebody on the other side that sold it to you. There's somebody that's actually taking a loss as well. And that's why the market does fluctuate and has like volatile situations. That's why we tell you not to play inside of consolidation, because there is no opportunities for sellers and buyers to kind of go back and forth with some good appreciation in the market. So if it's a zero-sum game and there's a loser for every winner, then the question is, if you have red in your portfolio, then you already know the answer. Somebody took your money. All right. So it's very important that when you set your trade, you know all your W's. We've talked about this before. You got to know why you're looking at the market. You got to know what is going to be your entry. And then after you're done with both of those, then you got to know why or when you are going to get out of the market. Because at the end of the day, we don't want to be completely exposed to the market, because the more we're exposed to it, the more we can get our portfolio burned. All right. So let's go to culprit number 2. Ignoring stop losses. That's probably one of the biggest culprit when it's all said and done. And I'm not talking about those that are able to operate where they can trade in the market and they can operate while having no stop loss on the screen or set. They have a feel of the market and they know what levels they're looking for, and they can get out of the market safe. I'm not talking about you. You operate different with your stop loss. Me, I use automation. I set my stop loss, but I don't ignore it. And here's an example of ignoring it. And some people does this, and I just want to make sure you got understand that's the same as ignoring. Just because you put it in a screen and you set it, you see it coming close to your stop loss, but you want to be in the market so bad, you move your stop loss. You're going to see the next culprits coming up in there, and you're going to see exactly why this is a big problem. So if you ever see the person ignoring the stop loss, man, nip them in the bud right there. I'm telling you this right now. A quote from Kanye West. He basically says, I am not afraid of dying. I'm afraid of not trying. The only way you're going to keep trying, the only way you're going to stay in the market, the only way you're going to not hesitate on taking your positions in the market is mitigating losses. There is no venture capitalist that turns around and says, oh, you know what? You want $1.5 million? No problem. Here's the money. And they're not trying to stop the losses along the way. They're going to try to recoup some of their money when it's all said and done. They're going to put parameters. They're going to put barriers. They're going to put milestones. They're probably not going to give you the whole 1.5. You got to hit certain levels that proves that this is a good venture when it's all said and done. So why are you treating your portfolio with such disrespect where you're not even putting any stop losses? So it's very, very important that you do so. All right, so let's go to the next one. Next culprit, letting your losses run. Now, this is like the twin brother to ignoring your stop losses, right? Letting your losses run is probably the most dangerous thing that you can actually do in the market. And if you know this culprit, this is the person that you need to get to before he gets to the person that's ignoring stop loss. Because if you're letting your losses run and then you also ignoring your stop loss, I'm telling you this, that's a bad combination. They're going to start destroying some portfolios right there. All right. So you got to really hone in to the center of who your identity is. We've talked about this on my mindset on Saturdays. You got to find your trading identity, because that will not have you have the hope or the angst or anxiety that's going to hold you back when certain setups are there. And then when you're in the trade, you're so afraid that you'll ever get back in the market. You're now pretty much gambling and letting the trade do whatever it wants. Very, very dangerous, very dangerous. So you got to have, think of it this way. There's sitcoms, right? There is movies. There is, we got reels now. So people are putting like 15-second snippets into the video space and everything else. There's just so many ways, bite-sized to as much as full-length movies, right? And you want to turn around and take a bite-sized strategy, as in scalping or anything else, and then you don't even have a true plan on trying to turn it into a full-length movie. So now you're letting your losses run, and you don't even have a strategy on how you're going to structure yourself to either exit. Now, I'm not saying for you to ignore your profits or whatever the case may be, but when it comes down to losses and you're not in a proper entry, we are a lot smarter when we're out of the market. So go ahead, take a step back, take your little lumps because you just took that L, and go ahead and assess what's going on. Triage, journal your entries, so that way you can make sure you know what's the best way that you go ahead and enter the trade again. All right. Have a cutoff time. We talked about barriers. You know what I'm saying? Like just like any other show. Imagine if the Marvel series was literally every single movie put into one and it ran for like 17 hours. You'd be tired. Yeah, you could binge watch a couple of movies back to back, but after the movie number 4 or 5, you're tired. So why are you trading every waking hour that the market is actually open? Give yourself a cutoff time, give yourself a start time. Maybe you are a better trader at 10 a.m. versus being a trader at 9 a.m. Maybe that's the, so you got to be able to limit those losses. Let's go ahead and go to the next culprit. Next culprit, unprepared. I'll say it like this. If you come unprepared, then you can fall for anything the market has for you. They'll blow you all over, just like a leaf in the wind. You're like, oh my God, we're gonna go long, and then out of nowhere it just goes the other way. Then you're like, oh, let me go this way. It'll be like that herd that just keeps on moving, and you think you're covered, but then out of nowhere you go to that side, and then they go to this. You don't want to be in that. And skipping research, knowing what type of market climate it is, knowing where exactly your stop losses and triggers and everything is going to be, that is what causes a lot of losses. So it's very, very important that you study, and always be a student in the market because it's ever changing. All right. So pre-market preparation. You want to be like Bucky. You want to be like Chrissy. You want to be like all these great traders when it's all said and done, but you haven't done any of your pre-market analysis to know what the market is about to do. I wake up at 6 o'clock sometimes just to kind of see where the gauge of the market is going to go. And that's, I don't trade until roughly 9:30. I might scalp a little before, but 9 times out of 10, I'm looking for my setup to show up at 9:30-ish going into 10 o'clock because my best window is from 10 to 2. That's where I'm most successful. Do you know that for yourself? Did you do the research for your own identity as that trader? So this culprit right here is more like a silent killer. You'll think that you're prepared. You threw a couple of trend lines on the screen and you're like, oh yeah, I got this. But you didn't even know that Jay Powell's going to go ahead and talk at 9:15 in the morning. You're like, oh, why is it going this way? These are the things that you got to get rid of, these culprits, lock them up, throw away the key. They cannot exist. Let's go to the next culprit. Next culprit, emotional trading. Now, everybody that knows, I wear my heart on the sleeve. I am a very active, a very borderline colorful character as far as like in my trading, but I have fun doing that. That's just how I am. I'm starting to temper that a little bit down so I can be a little bit more objective in the market, but I know this culprit from a different type of standpoint. There was a time where I felt like the whole market was just watching my account. They're like, oh yeah, they like these type of retail traders. They coming specifically for me. They want my money. No, listen, no, they don't. They do not care about you. If you have your stop loss in a safe point, but your entry is in the wrong point, then that means your stop loss is also in the wrong point, and then they come and get that stop loss. It is not you, but it is you. So let's go ahead and get a quote. Never let them see you frown, even smile when you're down. Shout out to Lil Wayne on that one. Because listen, the market will punch you in the face. I promise you this right now. If you tell me that you just started trading, you're at 100%, you've won every trade, you're green, 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 congratulations. But there will be a day, there will be a point of adversity where you have to ask yourself this question: is this for you? And I've gave you out these numbers before. 70% of traders quit within the first couple of months to a year. The remaining 30% don't even last more than a year. About 10% stays. That's the numbers. But the reason the number is so small is because inside of that nucleus of that 10% is people that are disciplined, or they're working their craft to become so disciplined that they can operate in the market with these guardrails and rules, these journals, these triage. All the structures that you see in the Profits channel are people that actually did the work. Are you doing the work so that way you can be able to wrap up that emotional trading? Because I tell you this right now, you will be frustrated when you don't have a system. It's automatic because you're like, I don't know what's going on with the market. You'll see your setup, and the first thing you want to do is pull your hair out of your head because you're like, I know this works. Yeah, it worked then, but does it work now? And that's where you need to address all the emotional factors. Maybe it's keep the trading floor quiet. Maybe mute us when we're talking on the trading floor. Maybe it gives you, you get a point of anxiety because you hear we're calling this level or this level or this. I want you to be completely objective in the market. That's how you're going to win when you're at zero. All right, let's go ahead and keep this going. So Nas says, never let a couple of losses get to you. That's how the game goes. Impulse trading. I've done this before. I know a lot of traders, you've done it before. You're not really seeing your setup, but you just want to be in the market. So you get very impulsive. You get to a point where you just want to click a button. You can't contain yourself because you're like, there's money out there. I want the opportunity to be in to get the money. So you expose yourself to the market. You expose your portfolio to the market, and then it starts off red because you got in on the wrong position. Or maybe you start off green, you got lucky, but they didn't really have a strategy, so you never moved the stop loss. You never put a target. You're just in the market, and then out of nowhere, it eats up your portfolio because there's an impulsive candle. You're impulsive in the market, then an impulsive candle comes in, but it goes against you. Yeah, you might get lucky a couple of times where impulsive candle goes and it goes your way, and you start making some profit. But I'll tell you this right now, you do impulsive trading right before an impulsive candle, I promise you, 9 times out of 10, you will be losing. And then the emotional trader will come out, and then that culprit will compound everything. And then you're going to say, oh man, you know what? Trading's not for me. It's not, actually. You're absolutely right. It's not, because this is for the discipline. This market is designed for the patient to take money from the impatient. It's designed to take the money from the impatient. So it's a lot of people that's sitting there waiting. Like, if this thing hits my level, I'm putting my entry here. I'm putting my stop loss here. I'm taking my target there. That's what they're doing. That is their goal. Because at the end of the day, you're not an investor. We're traders. If you're day trading, you're not an investor, then that means you have to trade your plan. Don't trade your money. All right. So what's the best ways of kind of combating that, right? Best strategies to combat being impulsive. Well, first thing, you got to have a blueprint. This is not a freestyle. Yeah, you probably could be good freestyling for a little bit, but you're going to, trip up a little bit. It's not going to always be perfect every time. But when you have a blueprint, you might have yourself your first hit. And that blueprint is going to be specifically, what is the current climate of the market? What is my strategy? What am I looking for so that way I can even be inside of the market in itself? And if you've taken some losses because of impulse trade, now, you don't have to lie to me. You can lie to yourself all day. Like I said, I've been there. I've done that. And hearing it from another trader back to you, that should at least give you a sign saying if you've ever experienced it, because it's almost impossible to avoid it. Exactly. FOMO traders, that's an impulsive type of trade. Oh, I heard that Tesla is moving to the upside and it has a boosty candle to the upside and it's about to take off to the I just jumped in, but you never even looked at the chart. You just went straight to your brokerage. You think that is going to win you anything? Imagine if any sports team just said, you know what? Practice? We ain't going to practice now. Why are we going to plan anything while they're going against a team that actually is planned and well prepared and everything else? It's going to be a blowout. The chemistry is going to be so there that it's going to be almost impossible to stop them. And I don't care how much skills you may have. I don't care how much talent you have, because work will always beat any talent in any realm or any space in this world. It's just designed that way. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the desire of winning, the desire of avoiding losses, that makes somebody like, I need to have the highest probability of being successful. So they work a strategy so that way they can avoid any type of impulsive trading in itself. Get rid of all the culprits, every single one of them, all of them in the middle of this whole entire cipher that I just gave you a list, from over trading all the way down to here. But if you're telling me that you just started trading and the first thing you did was open a brokerage and put real money in it and you never touched a paper trade, I'll tell you this, I've done that. And I paid a very, very expensive cost for the lessons I've learned. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up a little bit. I think I kind of ran the time a little bit. I appreciate all of y'all. Let's start from the beginning. First off, right, I've given you on this list. I kind of did it. I changed it up a little bit, right, as far as design. But the list, I can't make it any better. If you're not using this list, I don't know what else to tell you. You're just setting yourself up for failure. I promise you that. So first thing you want to do is self-awareness and emotional check-ins. How do you feel today? I open up my floor. Everyone, hey, what's going on? How are you doing? I start off at 0 because I'm like, you know what? Today I'm blessed. Today, I actually, let me give y'all a little bit of I probably should save it for Saturday, but I'll give it to y'all for Wednesday. I used to answer like, I'm great. I get to see another day. And I don't know, maybe it made me feel a little small-minded. I had to kind of like really key off on that, right? But when I started it's like really understanding, I just said, I'm blessed. Everything moving forward, everything's my path is for my own good when it's all said and done. When I started doing it like that and not worry about the intricacies of I get another day, even though I'm appreciative of another day, I feel like it really set me to 0 a little bit better than the previous statement. So I don't know what your emotional check-in is. You got to be self-aware. I can't do it for you. Yeah, I open up the floor every so often and I do that as well. But it's up to you to actually participate so that way you can really understand where you are mentally. All right. Journaling and reflective analysis. That's the triage. That's the journaling. That's where you get to know where you're going. You can't work that strategy if you never test it, and don't test it with your real money. So this is where that gets very important. Setting boundaries and limits. Shout out to the floor. I've spoke to quite a few of the traders that's on the floor recently. Some have set some boundaries because it's almost like they try to come to a more hard reset than a regular reset. You know how you get your cell phone, you could just power cycle that, but then there's like the hard reset that it just almost like purges all that cash junk and everything. I know my techie folks will understand what it is. You get to toss that and clear it completely. Some of them went a little extreme, like, hey, I'm gonna take a week off. I'm gonna still look at charge, but you know, saying keep staying. But some are actually holding back just so where they can get themselves back to where they need to be. Very, very great to hear that, and I hope that helps you in your journey. Educated on market climates. This is a must. I don't care where you are or how it works or whatever. You have to educate yourself at all times on market climates because it changes every day. Sometimes it changes hour to hour. Scenario planning, that's your strategy. You have to put your strategy in place. Diversification, portfolio rebalancing. The most important thing is to treat yourself. Not all the money that's in there is supposed to come right back into the market. They'll try to take it. They will. So go ahead. If you made, I don't know, $100, take 50, put it back into the portfolio, your high risk. That's what you're trading with. Take 25, put in something long-term like your McDonald's, your Coca-Colas or whatever, and take $25 and go buy yourself, I don't know, something from dinner or lunch, or, you know, get yourself a golden burger like Neo did. You know what I'm saying? Like anything. Just do something that it feels like I've extracted something and here's your reward. It goes a long way for your mentalist. All right. So mindfulness and meditation. Now, how you get to your meditation and mindfulness it's up to you. I don't know if you want to go spiritual with praying and everything. That's up to you. But the goal is you got to hone yourself and bring yourself back within yourself as one. So that way you can get reset to 0, go with that objectivity and attack the market, knowing that you have a purpose to do so. So let's go ahead and just conclude here. By all means, I'm going to end it because I already started this with a little bit of hip hop. We're going to go ahead and finish it. Strap up, guard your grill, keep it tight. We trading smart and sharp, trading the Hunger Games arena when we're in the market, ready to fight. So I'm gonna open up the floor. Anybody wants to share? How was your week? Did you make your $1.5 million? Did you get funded? I appreciate you, Trader Shaddy. Absolutely, absolutely.
I've had a much better week.
That's what I like to hear.
Since I, what was that, Saturday? That
Mm-hmm.
we talked. Yeah, it's been a much better week.
Yep.
Ironed out some personal things and been sticking to my rules, and it's been cool. I'm still paper trading. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been doing my eval account. Like I said, I'm gonna just be patient with that
Mm-hmm.
and practice on the paper trade. Like SJ was saying, don't jump off that. So it's just what
Yeah.
I've been doing. That's been going cool. Take my couple ticks and move on with the day.
Yeah.
Come back to my screen. If I see a setup while I'm sitting there, that's cool. But none of what I was doing before last week. So progression.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Like today, and I had a feeling that today could have happened, but I kind of doubted it because we had such a bullish week. Like it's like, just almost felt like 2020. Just buy something, hold on to it, and it's just going to go shoot up. That's how it kind of felt coming on for last week. But today, with all the Fed speeches and not really any true catalyst, I think they're waiting for tomorrow's JOLTS report. I felt like we was going to find some place to kind of, because we ran hard. Like we're going to just consolidate, sit back. And I took like 2 trades and I was like, wait, I'm down $200. What am I doing here? I feel like I'm forcing it. But on the trading floor, I kept on hearing, oh, this. I said, man, I got some paperwork to do. I want to go do some paperwork. Came back, made that up, and made another $100 on top. And I was like, all right, that's good enough. I went with such low leverage because I just did not trust the market. And you could see how it kind of just went up and down for hours at a time.
Right, right. Well, that's cool. You had a good day too. Also, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and I hope everybody got a good piece of that little bit of a run up that we had right before Power Hour. That thing had a nice little move.
Appreciate you, bro.
Of course, you too. All right. Anyone else? How did you do? It's a lot free, or we can end it here. I usually end this at 3:30. But how did you do? Like, did you have a green day, a red day? Maybe you learned something new about yourself. These are the things that you have to do from the self-awareness perspective. That way you can become a better trader. Kind of like you take a step back to make a better step forward. And each time you take a step back, you kind of, get a firm footing on that next one. Or like mountain climbing, however, whatever metaphor you want to use.
Well, I'll say that I learned to not be
Mhm.
greedy today.
Okay, that's good.
I didn't meet the daily goal, but it was close. And I said, you know what? Just stop. or if you take a trade, you better have a super tight stop loss because you're not going to risk 10, 15, 20 ticks because it'll eat away at your gains. And it took me a long time to get my gains. Or I work hard for my gains. So I don't want to give it up because of those impulse FOMO type trades. So keep it tight. If it goes my way, great. If it doesn't, I'm willing to risk, 3 to 4 ticks and keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah. And that should be like 90% of our mentality going to the market. But it's greed. Like we are one of those type of I guess you want to say species, right? Because we are always looking for our own self exaltation or self protection. Like we're always one for self, right? So if you really think about it, well, I guess I should have put down silent. If you really think about it, that's a good thing because we're going to always be protective of ourselves. Now, by you saying what you said, as far as like trying not to be greedy, because the greed is the one that kind of drives that FOMO, and you being able to address that, that is great. And that's why I did. If you ever did I ever post it? I don't think I ever posted. I'm gonna look for that segment about Jomo. I'm gonna see if I can make that the next release. Because you gotta enjoy missing out on opportunities. Because when you're missing out on an opportunity that you knew was gonna go in that direction, it helps you journal your trades, and you're like, okay, this is the setup. Now I can see it a little bit better because now I can be more objective being outside the market instead of being emotional. Don't get the oh my God, I should have took that trade, should have took that trade. Well, if you should have took the trade, work the strategy so that way when you see the signals, you can take the trade. If you should have took the trade, then that means you didn't take the trade because you didn't believe in it. And that controls the greed.
Exactly. Because I blew my funded account being greedy, talking about, oh, I'm $150 away from getting a paycheck and this and that, whatever. Yeah. And I went and I traded and I blew the dumb shit. I just blew it.
Like, you can't force the market to do whatever you want. It's not going to happen. And the moment you start to accept that, you're going to start putting it into that system. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Did you hit your goal for today, though?
That's what I'm saying. I didn't hit like my the dollar amount goal that I wanted, but it was close. And I said, you know what? I should just be grateful. Like, what am I over here trying to, like, you know, what? Not to have high standards, but you know what? It was I made good money, and it's better than what if I didn't play. I don't know. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good thing, because there's going to be days where you either 2 times your goal, 3 times your goal, and it's going to make up for those times where you only got to like 75% of your goal, 50%, 80%. So it's a numbers of game of probability and numbers. Just play the numbers, play the setups, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, because I think yesterday, one of my accounts, I took 2 trades and they were bad, and I said, you know what, stop. I was like, I can't trade anymore because now that's negative. But then because it's negative, I held the self-control to say, let me not try to make it positive. And I said, you know what? Today's a loss day. So then today I inched my way up. I had, one good trade in one account and the other ones were like, still good. But I just said, you know what? Let me just stop.
Good. And I know you like your patterns. I would say I do this also because I do that sometimes with my setups. I'll be like, okay, you know what? I gave it 2 times. It looked like it's supposed to be a bull flag, or it looks like it's supposed to break out here. Yeah, I got 2 shots at my stop loss. All right, I'm gonna wait for the next setup because obviously something I'm missing, or maybe we're about to go into consolidation.
Yeah. And I think yesterday I was like waiting for a reversal, and I went against the trend being like a reversal trade, and I said, I gotta stop that. I have to stop.
It's gonna come with growth. The more you experience to the market, the more you know your triggers, the more you're gonna be able to like weed out the bad habits and start putting some good ones. All right.
No, but I appreciate you doing this. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much for sharing. All right, last call. Anyone wants to share? All right, so we'll end it here. I appreciate every one of y'all. Thank you for taking the time and jumping into Mindset with us. I just want to let y'all know. Hold on, let me grab my data. There we go. All right. So if you haven't been to my trading floor, basically this is my trading floor. It's at 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Monday through Fridays. Also, I do have a couple events that's going to be popping off today on Friday, I should say. And one of them is going to be Scalping 101. So this is going to be the first time I actually take the trading floor, kind of do a little bit of a variation. So we're going to try to get to our goals. So get your tickets for that. That's going to be at 9:15 a.m. And the last thing, we're going to do a massive charting class. This is going to be Charting Unleashed. That's going to be between 6 and 8 p.m. By all means, DM me, let me know. I'm going to put the links inside of the information here, so that way you can go ahead and get your tickets. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time. And I will see you tomorrow at 8 a.m. on the trading floor. Bye, everyone.